Thank you so much, John, and thank you for inviting me. My name is Charlotta Bergenstjerna, and I am a channel account manager at Infor. I have been working with channel partners for the last coming up to 5 years now. Um, yeah, that's me. Been with Infor for 15 years. I worked in the maintenance business here at Infor and also our license management department as a contract analyst. Very much so. I think it was, you know, remembering the boundaries of our partnerships really did stand out to me because um, Info wants one thing, partners wants another thing. Um, and yeah, sorry, can we? I'm gonna have to start over. Yes. Let me just read this and have a sip of water because I can feel my throat drying out. Okay. Yes. So let's go again. Um, do we have a cutting point? That's good. That's my main word. No, yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, John, and thank you for inviting me. My name is Charlotta Bergenstjerna, and I am a channel account manager at Infor. I have been working with partners for just coming up to 5 years now, and been with Infor for 15 years. Yeah, I worked for a few years in the maintenance business, and most of my time in the license management department as a contract analyst. I think for me, the main thing that stood out is the boundaries between our different partnerships because it's not just one partnership. Um, the strategic side and you've got the tactical side, and within both you've got smaller partnerships, and it's really easy to sort of lose track of that in your day-to-day job as a partner manager, and just focus on what's right in front of you. You know, the selling, getting the contracts out, making sure your partners achieve the quotas, etc., that we've set them. So being reminded of the importance of having the you know the tactical alignment and the strategic alignment is really, really useful. Hmm. Well, I think it's important to remember both sides and not just focus on Inform what we want. It's really important to take the partner's business needs and their plans into consideration as well. Because, yes, we own the partner program and we own the solutions that they sell, but they do the selling. They have their own goals and ambitions and business plans, and we need to make sure that we are aligned as best as we can. Um, and we need to take into consideration, if they're going through mergers or acquisitions, or if they're hiring a lot of new staff, so if they've got high staff turnover, the impact that has on their business and the impact it has on our partnership, as well as, if they're expanding into new territories and what impact that has. It might be that they're looking to expand into in a new country, for example, and it takes up a lot of their time and focus, and it's sort of it removes their focus on other parts of their business, so we can then make sure that we can support them in different ways. So I have different meeting cadences with my partners for different purposes. I have weekly calls with them for pipeline generation or for forecasting purposes, for example. And I might have with some partners, and with other partners, I might have the same type of calls on a monthly basis. But I also make sure that I have quarterly business reviews where we go through their, year to date performance and make sure that, the pipeline they have and the business they've closed means that they will hit the target that we've set for them. Um, and then once a year, I tend to have more of a strategic meeting with the senior management or the general manager, the CEOs, to ensure that we are aligned on a longer term perspective. So it's about constant contact with your partners, with the right people within their business. Um, Beginning of the year, we have meetings with the marketing executives to make sure that we support them in their marketing activities throughout the year. Pardon me. We make sure that if they are attending any events, we know about it up front, so we can support them either being there in person or through marketing, development, funding, money, that sort of thing. So it's very much it's a holistic approach. It can't just be sales focused, because you have to find the opportunities to drive those sales. And you only find those opportunities by having that strategic planning done very early on in the year, and the marketing plan's done. So it feeds the pipeline, not just for this year, but also for the next sort of 12, 18, 24 months. And you keep doing that on a over and over again. Yeah. Well, I think um, it's about building that personal relationship with them to prove that you got something you can add to their business. Whether it's through past experience or helping them get their last deals signed over the before year end kind of thing, um, working late together with them to get deals over the line. It means that if you're working that closely with their sales team, the sales team will tell their managers, and it will sort of feed up. And equally, if you do that close relationship with the marketing team, that again will feed up to the senior level. And the way I tend to approach my partners is, for those more strategic meetings, I invite my manager along as well, because it's a really important meeting for him to be a part of, so he has an understanding of what my partners are doing, so that he can plan internally as well, and it feeds up the chain. So it's not just about me, and it's not just about my partner. It's yeah, it, hmm. Of course. I think it's important to know, if you're having these kind of meetings at the beginning of a financial year, say first week in January, it's important to have the information in your back pocket about how the partner performed the previous year. Pardon me. I'm so sorry. Right, we start over with that question. I'm good. Well, I think it's important if, uh, let's say you have these discussions at beginning of the year, first week of January, you make sure that you have all the information from the previous year's performance, so your manager knows exactly what has been going on, and you talk about, if you've managed to have a meeting with the marketing team, for example, you can tell him about their upcoming marketing plans. um, you can, as you talk to various different people within your partner's business, anything that they bring up that you think your manager should know about, tell him beforehand, basically. Exactly. Um, and just generally sort of discuss their pipeline for the next year. If you set them a high quota that they're unhappy with, tell him. So there are absolutely no secrets. And I think it's really important to have that open and honest relationship, both with your partner as well as with your manager. Um, and I'm very lucky here at Infor. I've got a really good management team behind me who will support me and my partners. Yeah. Oh, that is the question. I think it's ask me that again. I'm so sorry. So I think partners don't necessarily have that big an input on the actual quota that we set them. It is a number that is arrived at by people above me, and it gets communicated to partners. But for me, what I tend to do, if um, I tend to try and put a positive spin on things. If they're not happy with the quota or the sales quota that we've given them, I try to focus more on the existing pipeline, the marketing activities they got planned, to show them a way to see that it is achievable. And we focus on things like moving their on-prem customers to the cloud and how beneficial that could be to the customer base, for example. Um, so not to look at it in too much of a negative point of view, but more of a opportunistic, you know, this is a great opportunity. What can we do together? The achievement at the end is that's the end result. And I know that for some partners, it can be a struggle. For other partners, it's a little bit easier, depending on how big a partner is and what regions they sell into and that sort of thing. But all of those elements are taken into consideration when quotas are set, basically. So it's a delicate discussion with them. Yeah. Um, to be honest, that is something I'm working towards, because my day-to-day job is very much focused on the selling side of things. But um, it's always it's always good to try and help partners grow, whether that is um, making sure that their staff are skilled up to do their job, knowing how to use our various different systems internally that they need to use to make their job easier. Um, it is making sure that if I think they are stretching themselves too thinly and they're taking on too much work, I tell them. Um, and I tell them that perhaps it's time to consider some recruitment because I can see that you're struggling in this area and it's impacting that area of your business. And being brave to have those conversations with your partners is really important. Um, and if, yeah, yeah, yes. No, 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 that's absolutely fine. I think it's and that comes back to having those great personal relationships with the people that you work with, like your partners, and having that rapport with the senior management level as well, to be able to sit down and say something's got to give. Yeah. Or for some partners they are that I manage, they only sell into the European market, and we have a I work in an independent business unit within Infor, and our solution is currently deployed in London or Sydney. So for customers within the European Union who needs data residency within the European Union, that's a tricky one. So what I then do with those partners is I look at, is there any other products they can take on to expand into to help them sell a different solution and in the long run, uh, again, achieve the quota. But it's, you know, as a salesperson, that is the um, the North Star, isn't it? Yeah. Know your numbers. Even if you don't need them, know your numbers. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.